Urban Decay launched their first naked palette, I feel like the drugstore and high-end makeup counters have just been full of neutral eyeshadow palettes, and I'm here today to talk to you about kind of most of my favourites and some of my not so favourite drugstore eyeshadow palettes. And this is something that I think has really come into its own because of the Urban Decay Naked palette, because before that you'd get kind of the odd little palette on the drugstore, but they weren't anywhere near as on point as they have been in recent years. And I've got some from various different brands, some really inexpensive ones, some slightly more expensive ones, but I just want to talk to you about them and what I think of them. So I'm going to jump right into it and give you a little mini review of some of the ones I think are kind of the most unusual. The first one is by Makeup Revolution, and this is a matte eyeshadow palette. So this is kind of very inspired by something like the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette, but a little bit bigger. And this is their palette of matte shades. So as you can see, you get a really nice selection of kind of lighter shades, slightly purplish shades, still very, very neutral, obviously. And this is a really great palette. This retails at £4, so really, really affordable. And they're really nice quality. The one thing I think is a little bit annoying is that they're very thin in terms of the packaging, so to fit a kind of fluffy brush for an all-over colour like any of these, it's a little bit awkward. But apart from that, really, really great palette. Would definitely recommend it. And considering it's a matte palette, it's very buttery, it's not chalky, pigmentation's quite nice, and just a very nice everyday palette that is nice to have if you do have a lot of shimmery eyeshadow. Something like this will be great because I think a matte always looks nicer in the crease. Then for a very, very well-known palette, this I think is kind of one of the ones that started off the drugstore palette craze. And this is by MUA, and I've got a package of post that I had just brought in on the sofa and it's fallen down. This is from MUA, and this is their Undressed palette, and this is just a very, very good dupe for the Urban Decay Naked palette. And I put trying this off for a really long time because I just wasn't sure I'd like it, and I kind of was, I will admit, a little bit snobby about drugstore eyeshadows, but this is amazing. It's a beautiful palette. The pigmentation is just gorgeous. If I swatch one of the shades for you, one of the shimmery shades, just beautiful, so pigmented, blends beautifully. You can see it's a very well loved palette. I've used it a lot and it just looks amazing on the eyes, very pigmented, and £4, it's absolutely amazing. It's pretty slim and kind of, you know, you could take it away with you. Doesn't matter if it gets lost or ruined because it's so inexpensive. Then I've got something that's a little bit different that maybe some of you won't have heard of, and this is from Soap & Glory, and this is their Lid Stuff palette. So it's kind of like a little quad, and in here you get the shades Vanilla, Mud Honey, Aubergine and Pink Tea, and it's really, really just a great everyday palette. So you get kind of like, you know, good crease colours, a little bit of shimmer, some mattes, really lovely. This is more expensive, I think this is around £10, but really nice quality shadows and kind of wearable shadows. All of them are incredibly easy to use, so that's a really good option. And then I have got this little one right here from I Heart Makeup, which is kind of part of the Makeup Revolution brand, and this is the Selfie palette. Now the packaging of this is really cool. It's kind of got a little bit of a kind of holographic thing going on, and this I like to think of as a similar to the Naked palette but just smaller, and it's a very, very good kind of holiday palette. So if I just show you all the shades in here, very pretty, easy to wear, nicely pigmented. I do find that the Makeup Revolution palettes do really differ in terms of quality. Like I said, the matte ones are really lovely. These are nice, but I still think the matte ones are a little bit nicer. Definitely a really pretty palette though. I mean, like you can see, the pigmentation of them is really nice, and it's not expensive either, but it's kind of something that you might want to try a little bit in store and see how you get on with the textures. And then I have got this palette here, which is another copy of a very famous drugstore palette. Sorry, I've got hair here from one of my brushes, I can feel it. It's that MAC 182, it does that, it's so annoying. But yeah, this is the I Heart Makeup I Heart Chocolate palette, and this is a dupe for the Too Faced chocolate palette. And as you can see, it is a beautiful palette. I mean, the shades in here are gorgeous. The one thing about this though is that they don't last on my lids, and this is something very interesting because this isn't something that normally ever happens to me. You know, I'll put on an eyeshadow, it's still there in the evening, it's fine. But two of my favourite combos from this palette are actually these two. And I know the pink shade looks a bit weird, but it looks really nice on. And then that purpley shade in the crease. And the purpley shade just fades after about an hour into nothing. It just ends up looking like just a little bit of a darker colour. Doesn't look purple. And I find that really annoying because that's what I love about this. The kind of different shades. So you've got the kind of greens, and it's annoying that they've all got such big mirrors because I'm going to blind you. But the khaki greens and that kind of thing, just really lovely shades. And the browns are all really nice. The brown shades last nicely, but something about the pigmentation of the purples just doesn't last that well. It's definitely one that if you like makeup, I think, you know, it's worth picking up if you don't think you'll get much use out of the Too Faced palette. But I'd be interested to know, if you have got the Too Faced palette, do you think that the purple shades in it last better? Because this really doesn't last. It's something that's very unusual to me, that never happens to me before. Sorry. And then last but not least is this one by W7. Now I bought this in TK Maxx. You can get them on Amazon, very, very inexpensive. And they do a lot of higher end makeup inspired items. I think they do a mascara that's very similar to the Benefit They're Real. But this is the W7 in the Nude palette, and this is a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. And I picked this up just because I didn't think that I'd get much use out of the palettes in the Urban Decay 3, because I just thought that they were a little bit too pink for me. However, I love this palette and I have gotten a lot of wear out of this palette. So these are the shades, and today I'm wearing that one on my lid and that one in my crease. So those two, and it's really, really lovely and easy to use, nicely pigmented, kind of very similar to the Urban Decay. I mean, I don't think the Urban Decay eyeshadows, I know a lot of people do, but I don't think they're the kind of best. I prefer MAC eyeshadows. I think the shimmery ones from Urban Decay have annoying fallout, but you know, they do amazing palettes. This is a really, really good dupe. This was $5.99. You can get it on Amazon for about $5, I think, and very, very nice if you do want some of these palettes. So things like this, like the hot chocolate palette. If you want those types of palettes but you don't think you're going to get much use out of them, which, let's face it, for me is the case. I need to sneeze. I apologise for that. That was like a sneeze that I've had coming all morning. So yeah, I might edit that out, I might not, I'll see how I feel. But if you are someone who knows that you've already got a lot of eyeshadow palettes, you don't want to spend like £30+ on another one that you know you're not going to use all the shades out of, which is definitely the case with this one and with this one. These two are really great options. You know, this is £8, and the packaging for this is really similar as well. I mean, this is good packaging for £8, come on. It looks like... But yeah, I love a lot of these now, and it's something that I think I wouldn't have tried had it not been for YouTube, because I was definitely a snob when it came to drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I just kind of didn't think they were that good. I was MAC all the way. I still think MAC are the nicest, but anyway, I do like these. So I hope you enjoyed this little mini overview of drugstore eyeshadow palettes, and let me know what your favourites are. I'd be really, really interested to know if there are any that I'm overlooking, or just eyeshadows in general from the drugstore that you think are nice. And if you want me to do kind of other ones along this kind of vein, let me know. And I will just give you a quick rundown of what's on my face, because I know that I always get asked. My foundation is the Clarins Everlasting foundation. I have been enjoying this a lot lately. Under my eyes I'm wearing the Clarins Instant Light Concealer. My blush is MAC's Pink Swoon. My eyeshadows, as I said, are from the W7 palette. Mascara is Avon Super Shock. I've got a little bit of the Revlon Skinny Liner on my upper lash line. And then on my lips, I'm not sure the colour of this, I'll have to put it down below, but it's one of the new Bourjois Spring shades for the chubby sticks. I'm not sure the shade actually suits me. It's a really pretty shade, but I don't suit these kind of purpley bright pinks. I think I need a little bit more warmth. I suit more of a mid-tone pink type of thing. But yeah, and then on my nails I'm wearing this nail polish from the Pound Shop. It's one of the Poundland nail polishes in, I think it was called Mega Mushroom, and really nice. Lasted well, you know, really decent nail polish. I'm pretty impressed with that. I might pick up a few more. But that is it for this video. I hope you all have a great day. Let me know your recommendations for drugstore eyeshadow palettes, and I will see you next time. Bye!